Right away from the start, I felt like something was off. They did not follow the program requirements. How long you're willing to go to make people like you. Why would you do that to me? It was like I wasn't even there. Highly illegal, and it's against the law in the United States of America. Yo, love bugs, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a new type of video that me and everyone else on YouTube likes to call story time. So what is a story time? What? A story time is when a person like me sit down in front of a camera and talk to an audience like you. So you might wonder, what are you gonna talk about today? Well, let me say that this subject has been highly requested from some of my friends and some people in my family. Don't get your hopes up too high, but today I'm gonna talk about my experience in rematch as an au pair. I already heard half of you people out there already leaving. For you who are still there, Danny, Grandma, whoever, thank you. So this story goes back a long time ago, all the way back to 2014. As a lot of you probably know, I was an au pair in upstate New York. I stayed with a single mom with 3 kids, and they're like my second family. What you might not know is that I spent 5 weeks with another family before that. And that's the experience I'm gonna tell you all about today. We're gonna make this video in 2 parts. The first one I'm recording today is where I'm gonna tell you everything that happened that led to me deciding to go into rematch. The second one is what happened when I told my family that I want to go into rematch. Because that one, the second one coming your way, is even more crazy. That's when the real crazy shit happened. This is my relationship to the United States and why I decided to be an au pair. I was in the United States the first time, 2012, with my family. I fell in love from the first moment, and I just knew that I needed more of the culture, the people, everything that was about the States. So I decided to go back for a longer time. I thought a lot about studying, but that is shit expensive if you're from Europe. So I decided to go as an au pair, which is pretty cheap, easy, fast, and a great way to totally experience a new culture. Some people talk to family for 1 up to 2 years before deciding to go. I decided in like 3 weeks. Maybe not such a great decision when you look back at it right now, but it was kind of rushed because I was just so excited about going, and that a family actually wanted me to come there, and they really wanted me to make up my mind because they needed someone by the beginning of September. So the deal was done. I was on an airplane to New York City the 1st of September 2014. When you're traveling as an au pair, you always start out at a training school for a couple of days. So by the 6th of September, my 22nd birthday, I was on a bus going to the transit center of White Plains where my host parents were gonna pick me up. It was a family of 4, 2 parents and 2 kids, 1 boy who was 5 and 1 girl who was 7, and they lived about an hour north of New York City. When you look back at this, I kind of not remember myself being so excited about the actual family. I was super excited for the year I was going to have, but I never felt that connection with neither of the parents. Right away from the start, I felt like something was off. I arrived on my birthday. I was super awkward with talking English. I was super nervous. The host mom was not there. I was not told that she was not going to be there, and she was the one I've been in the most contact with. The host dad and the family was a chapter for himself. The people around me who actually met him, not a lot of people did, to be honest, but the ones who did probably don't have anything good to say about him. He was odd. He never smiled or like laughed or anything. He was so stiff and uptight, and he was like cold and emotionless, and he just gave me the creeps. Like nothing like he came onto me or anything. He just gave me the creeps, the same creeps as you get when you watch a horror movie. That is not a good first impression to get of someone. So my first day at the family, it's my birthday. He leaves me alone with the kids for like 3 hours, going away, renovating a house. That night, I went to bed, Skyping with Emma, and I told Emma, you know what, I think I'm gonna go into rematch. It was just something about the family, the house, the host dad, the situation that I was in that gave me the creeps. Like, I kind of knew from the start that this was not gonna end well. Maybe that was a problem as well, because I pretty fast decided that this was not gonna work out, and maybe I gave up a bit. Maybe I could have tried harder. Looking back, a bit older, back home in my safety zone, but out there I was in a total different world. I knew nothing about anything. I made up my mind pretty quickly, but at the same time I said I'm gonna give it a month before I make a decision, because things can turn around. So let's just sum up everything that was wrong with this family. They kind of didn't need me. My host mom, and I quote her, even said once, "Oh, it's kind of funny that we dragged you all the way over here and we don't even have the need for you." I was told ahead of time that they were gonna travel a lot and be away a lot. Bullshit. They were always home. I think they were away 2 days each during the 4 weeks I was working there. That left me with 0 responsibilities. I didn't do shit. I did the dishes. I made porridge for them in the morning and I did more dishes. You know what? I didn't travel across the world to do dishes. I never picked the kids up from school or dropped them off. I didn't do shit with the kids, like when the parents told me I'd play with them for an hour. I mean, and maybe you might think like, oh my god, that sounds like an amazing year. Like you had so much free time and you could do all these awesome things. Wow. Let me clarify for you. As an au pair, you don't have that much money. You can't do everything you want to do. Second of all your friends are au pairs and they're working, so you're all alone. 3 of all, if you feel like shit in the family and you're like a stranger in a house where you don't want to be, you don't feel like doing stuff. You feel like sleeping, hiding out in your room, being the only comfort zone you have. The parents treated their kids like babies. They were 5 and 7 and they wore diapers at night, like both of them for real. Like you had to change the diaper of a 7-year-old in the morning. They were not allowed to eat with like a knife because that was too dangerous, and every morning they had sippy cups that they were drinking hot milk out of that I had to prepare for them. We were in a scary freaking house with creepy dolls and no television. The family went to bed at 7 o'clock and then all the lights were shut off and I was alone on the 3rd floor in this creepy house without a TV or shit to do. I was not allowed to use the car. They told me before that I could, but when I was there, my host had just said like, you can go with the bus. Yeah, because America has such a great transportation system. I was so needy with my friends and I had to ask them to always drive me and pick me off, and I mean they were wonderful. Love to you, all of you, but the situation just sucked. The kids were like their dad. Didn't say much. They were quiet, shy. I'm not sure, but I never had the chance to connect with them because I was never working. And at the same time, they never told me ahead of time when I was supposed to work. Traveling with culture care is a program requirement that you have a written schedule for a week. Every morning I had to wake up and be like, how am I working today? Seeming like I didn't want to work, which I really did, but at the same time I wanted to be able to meet my friends and actually be able to plan something. Also, you're required to have 1.5 days off every weekend and once a month a full weekend, which I didn't have. Like, they did not follow the program requirements for a starter. I've already described to you how uncomfortable I was with the dad. Imagine him being home 24/7, always lurking around in the corners, observing, throwing fits at me because I forgot to turn off the lights when I left the room. He was like obsessed with the lights. If I was 5 away from a lamp and I did not turn it off, that was something wrong. Also, turning up to a situation where I flushed the toilet after 8 o'clock was not allowed anymore because there were old pipes in the house. And I closed my door to my room 9 o'clock a little bit too harsh, and I was not allowed to close the door after 8 o'clock either. Like, if I'm gonna lock me up in that tower like Rapunzel. I come from a huge, loving, caring family, and I've never felt more alone in my entire life. I was like a ghost. If I didn't talk, no one talked to me. No one gave a fuck about me. They didn't ask about my personal life, how my weekend was, anything about Sweden, whatever. If I did not start a conversation at dinner, it was like I wasn't even there. They communicated with texts. If I was on the 3rd floor and they were downstairs and they would text me, dinner is ready. Sure, I get that. They don't want to scream because that's disturbing, and they don't want to run in the stairs because that's even more disturbing. They would text me something about today. Maybe I came downstairs and I haven't read the text. They would be like, did you see the text? And I was like, no, sorry. What did it say? Well, read it. And I would have to stand in front of them reading. They could not communicate like normal people. They did it through texts. And it was very unpersonal and strange for me. One time the dad took me to the store and I got some raw chicken because I was supposed to make like enchiladas. And then they left for the weekend and I was not allowed to use the stove or the oven because they haven't taught me yet. So I was left home with raw chicken. To everyone out there who've never been an au pair, I need to explain this to you so you get what I'm saying. When you're in a situation like that, you travel across the world in a foreign country, living with people you don't even know. You don't have any friends, you don't have any social life, you don't know shit. You're like Jon Snow, you don't know shit. And in that situation, you depend a lot on the family because they're like the only thing you have. They're supposed to be your security, like your safe haven, the one backing you up and helping you out with everything moving to a foreign country contains of. And when that relationship is not working, it breaks you down a bit. Probably not if you're a cold-hearted bitch, but I'm not, and it really broke me down into pieces. I have a picture of how I wanted my au pair year to be like, and this was not it. I felt like this can't be the way it's supposed to be. I don't want my year to be like this. I can't stay like this for a year, feeling that I'm surrounded by people that don't care about me, and I felt so terribly alone. With all of this stuff going around, me being so uncomfortable, probably not intentionally, but they really broke down my self-esteem. I felt so worthless and I really questioned my own value. And it came to a point where my sleeping and eating habits were just horrible. I barely ate anything, and when I ate, it was just junk and shit. I couldn't sleep during the nights. I had nightmares all night long. When I'm stressed out, I very easily get nosebleed. So I had that like 2-3 times a day. And also, I'm not sure if you've ever experienced your eyeball like shaking. Well, that happens to me when I'm totally uncomfortable and way out of my place and in a really, really bad situation. And that's what started happening. And that was a sign to myself that, girl, you better do something about this. I think it took me less than a week until I broke down on Skype in front of my parents, crying my eyes out, telling them that this was shit. I'm not sure why my language come off as such offensive in this video. The first time I met my LCC, my local child care coordinator, she also told me that the family had been in a rematch before. They had an au pair who after 2 weeks just like had broken down into pieces, crying, screaming, get me out of here. They told me they'd never been to a rematch. They fucking lied. Not cool, bro. Not cool. You should not lie. I've told you a lot of information. I've told you how my health was at this point. It was shit. I think we've arrived to the flu shot incident. How do I tell this as fast as possible? In America, it's pretty popular to take the flu shot to avoid the flu during the fall season. At one point, my host parents asked me my opinions about the flu shot, and I said, you know, in general in Sweden, we don't really believe in that. We give it to kids and elders. I've never taken it, and I have no intention of doing it. A couple of days later, I came home, and they were in the kitchen, and they said something like, I can't quote because it's been a couple of years. You know what? You meet a lot of au pairs, you meet a lot of kids, you get exposed to a lot, and if you want to continue to work with us and with our children, we need you to take the flu shot. At this point, I was totally off my game. We've already talked about how low my self-esteem was, how I questioned my own worth. I just wanted these people to like me. And sometimes it's hard to understand how long you're willing to go to make people like you. I agree. Not because I wanted to take the flu shot, because I wanted to please them. And, you know, once again, I was in a situation that I was like, well, maybe I'll just do this and they'll like me. And the dad said, get in the car, we're leaving right now. I was like, shit, no preparation. Good for me, I'm not scared of needles. The flu shot is pretty cheap to take in America. It's like 20 to 35 bucks depending on where you take it. My host's parents back then got it for free from their work, and the thing was that my host mom had already gotten it, and when we were at the parking lot outside of CVS where we were supposed to take the shot, the host dad told me that since he could bring his wife for free, he wanted me to pretend to be his wife. Not only is it very inappropriate, it's also highly illegal. It's not illegal to claim to be someone's wife, but to forge a signature is highly illegal and it's against the law in the United States of America. I can tell you as much as this was my golden one-way ticket out of this family, but I mean, up until this day, I still don't understand why. This goes against everything I was ever raised to be. Why would you do that to me? I'm there freaking alone in a different country. I depend on you. I need you to survive, to get food, to have a place to sleep. And you put me in a situation where you want me to commit something illegal, a crime, something that's against the law. That is not okay. That is not cool. That is very offensive, and it hit me really hard. Like, you don't do that. If I'd been put in that situation before I went to the States or today, I would have known my rights. I would have stand up and said, hell no, this is not okay. Like, back the fuck off. Like, who are you to ask me to do this? But at that point, I was not myself. I was broken, lonely, emotional, crushed girl who did not see her own value. And this was my breaking point. You ain't gonna ask me to do something illegal and then assume for me to take care of your kids for a year. It was a Wednesday afternoon when I went to see my LCC, your contact person with the organization. After I've been talking for 3 minutes, she said, we need a drink. And she went to the kitchen and made us a cocktail each. And then she just let me talk straight for an hour. And I told her everything. And I was crying and I was happy and I was blessed because I felt like there was a normal adult person who believed in me and did not question me and really cared about me. Thank you, Lauren. Up until this day, I owe you so, so much. The next morning, I sat down with my host mom because I realized I could never be able to have this conversation with my host dad in the room. And I ended my little speech with, after this, I feel like I've come to a point where I can't continue. And it's hard for me to believe that you find the situation good. I believe the best way for everyone involved is to get into a transition, a rematch. After that, I said to myself, well, now you've done the worst part. Now it can't get any worser. Hell, I was wrong. But that we're gonna chat about in my next story time. Now I'm gonna get out of this share, go and watch the newest episode of Game of Thrones because I waited too long. Once again, thank you and a lot of love to you if you bared with me to the very end. As always, I hope to see you in my next video. Over and out.